Hi everyone, so before I talk about our 5 Youth Commissioner Challenge activities that we've got prepared for you this morning, I'm just going to run through what the Youth Commissioner Challenge is in case you've not already come across it. Now, back in January we worked with some brilliant organisations such as DRAX and Leeds City Council to form our second ever Youth Commissioners Challenge. This time putting a huge focus on how we as Scouts can tackle the climate emergency. And thus, we have our Youth Commissioners Challenge. Now, earning the badge couldn't be simpler. All you need to do is identify one of the 5 areas that interest you. These are climate change, energy usage, waste recycling and single-use plastics, travel and transport, and wildlife and conservation. Once you've chosen your area, you then need to learn about that issue. Educate yourself using whatever means you like. You then need to take practical action to combat the issue that you've learnt about. And finally, you need to promote what you've done. Share it on social media, write to local decision makers, anything you like promoting the work that you've completed. So this morning we have prepared 5 different videos that each cover one of the areas we've talked about. They either help you learn about the issue or begin to take the practical action needed to make a change. You can join me and learn how to make an eco-brick using waste plastics, or separately join me and learn all about calculating the air miles and reducing the impact of your food. You might want to join Nadia and Maya, who are going to complete a household energy audit and help you understand where you could be using less energy in your home. Or perhaps you'll join Oliver and Charlotte, who are going to be looking at post-lockdown, when schools and Scouts start again, how you could travel to them more sustainably. Or finally, perhaps you'd like to join Maya, who'll be looking at how to make Cress heads using nothing more than seeds and an old eggshell. I really hope you enjoy any of the activities that you choose to complete. Do remember that these complete part of the Youth Commissioners Challenge badge. If you then go back and complete the elements that you haven't done, which for most of these will be sharing and promoting the work you've done, which could involve using social media or just writing and sharing with your local decision makers, then do please go on our county website, navigate to the Youth Commissioners Challenge section, and on the details there, let Catherine, our county administrator, know all about what you've done, and we will make sure that we send out one of these badges to you completely free of charge. If the activities have ignited a passion that we all share for making the world a better place, then don't forget to revisit the other 4 sections and also earn your Youth Commissioners Challenge Changemaker badge. I hope you have a great time and enjoy the rest of Virtual Challenge 20. Hi everyone, so for this activity we're going to be exploring the impact on the environment that we create from the foods that we choose to eat. So it's relatively simple. All you'll need to do is go into either your cupboard or your fridge or wherever you keep your food and find 10 items. So ideally they're going to be items that already say where they come from on the packaging, so fruit and veg is really easy for this. But if there's also things that are from a specific brand, so for example I'm going to be using a certain type of rice, then it can be quite easy to just Google and find out where they're from. So once you've got those 10 items, we can make a start. Okay, so I'll just show you the 10 things I've got just to give you a bit of an idea of what you could be using. So I've got some eggs, I've got some brown basmati rice, I've got a pack of gala apples, I've got a bag of cherry tomatoes. I've got a Spanish tapas selection. I've got some cured ham. I've got a bag of carrots. I've got a packet of celery. I've got some mixed peppers. And last but not least, I've got a Toblerone. Okay, so once you've found your 10 items, all you need to do on a notepad is write them all down, just like that. Okay, so once we've made our list and we've got our 10 items, we can begin having a look where they're from. Now, for some of them, it'll be really simple because it'll say it straight on there. So, for example, on these apples, it says produce of Western Cape of South Africa. So, when it's like that, we're just going to write down next to apples, Western Cape, South Africa. For things like the meat, again, it gives a location. It says Wiltshire cured ham. If you have a look on the back, it might even give the specific farm. On this one, it doesn't, but it might do on the ones you've got at home. For example, the eggs, they say Yorkshire free-range eggs, but on the back it actually gives the specific farm in Thirsk. As you go along, you'll find each of the different items you've picked are specific to differing extents. So for example, the Toblerone simply says Switzerland. So for all of those, just write down next to where you've made your list the country or the exact address of where that item came from. So as I mentioned earlier, some of the foods, particularly the things that aren't fresh, might not say exactly where they have come from. However, if you take the example of this Tilda rice, then a quick Google says that authentic basmati rice is apparently only grown in the foothills of the Himalayas. So next to rice, I can write down Himalayas. So once we have wrote down next to our list of our items roughly where they are from, then we can begin to work out how far they are from us. So if you've got a computer or even an atlas, you can look up how far they've travelled to get to us. Now, for some of the items, there might just be a country. So, for example, my cherry tomatoes have just come from Spain, or the Toblerone has just come from Switzerland. Then, just to make it easier, you can just use the capital city. Now, because a lot of the food will either be flown here or brought over by boat, then if you use Google Maps, that might not be as accurate as it could be, because obviously that works based on land. Now, that's not a big deal. However, if you have access to the internet and a phone or a laptop, then there is a website called How Far Is It Between, and the URL is freemaptools.com. And it basically shows you as the crow flies, so as if a plane was bringing it here, how far between the point of origin and us. Okay, so once you've got all the distances, I'm doing mine in miles, you can do yours in kilometres if you like, then you're just going to add all of that up. So once you've added all of that up, you will essentially have a relatively large number that says how many miles the food has travelled to reach you at your plate. Now you've got the total number, it's probably interesting for you to see that some of those items may make up a much bigger portion of how far those foods have travelled. So for example, my eggs have travelled just 32 miles from a farm in Thirsk. However, the apples have travelled 6,175 miles all the way from South Africa. Equally, the rice has travelled 4,614 miles from the Himalayas, and the celery has travelled 1,000 miles from Italy. What you might find really interesting is sometimes it's not always about just how far the food has travelled, it's also about the process that that food has been grown in. For example, my carrot and pepper have both been grown organically. However, the carrot still travelled all the way from Italy and the pepper still came all the way from Spain. So just because something's travelled a long way to reach you, it doesn't always mean that it is worse for the planet. Ideally, you'd find everything that was grown in this country and was also grown organically. However, it is worth noting that this tends to be more expensive, and so it's a balance of where the food was grown, how far it's travelled to get to you, but also how affordable and practical it is for you depending on your circumstances. So once you've worked out all the mileage, your activity is essentially complete. However, to complete your Youth Commissioners Challenge, you need to learn about an issue, take practical action to tackle that issue, and also promote what you have done. So we've done the first bit of learning about the issue and seeing how far our fruit, veg and food is travelling to reach us. Now, to take action, you could really simply look at some of the foods, particularly the ones that are travelling the furthest to reach you, and take a look and see if you can source them more locally. Now, if you've got them from the supermarket, chances are there are only a few options of the items, so you might not be able to reduce it that much. However, if you've got a greengrocer's or a farm shop nearby, then if you take a look at some of the produce they stock, it's very likely to either have been grown on that very farm or to be from the surrounding area. You've then got to work out, to then promote what you've done, you could make a poster and draw on a map of the world and then put a dot where you are here in England and then draw lines going out to all the countries that your food has travelled from and write across each branch the name of the food and how many miles it's travelled. You could then share this with your other scouts, or if you're old enough, on social media, or you could even write to your local councillors and MPs and let them know about how far the food is travelling. You could even write to the supermarkets and ask them to stock more locally produced goods. Whatever you do, just make sure you share it with as many people as possible and let them know what you have learnt. I hope you've enjoyed and found it interesting to see how far your food has travelled to end up on your plate. You can do this activity so many different times with whatever foods you've got in your house. If you really want to challenge yourself, you could look at a specific meal that you're making, or even one of the meals that we've prepared videos on how to do. See if you could really get that down to as minimal food miles as possible. See you later.
Today I'll be teaching you how to make eggshell cress. You will need part of an eggshell, cotton wool, cress seeds and water. So to start with, you'll need your egg. You can draw a funny little face on it. I've done here and I've also done one on the back. And you'll need to put your cotton ball inside the egg, like that. Next, you'll need a bit of water and you just need to pour it in and soak the cotton wool inside. like that. Then get a pinch of your seeds and sprinkle them inside on the cotton wool. If you would like to grow more cress, I'd suggest doing 2 of these, just like that, and then pour a bit more water over the top. Whilst your cress is growing, you need to make sure that the cotton wool inside is always damp, as this will help the plant grow better. If you're making 2, 3, 4 of these eggshell cress, then I would advise to use an old egg carton to keep them near a windowsill so that they can grow better. Once your cress is grown to about 5 centimetres tall, then using scissors just cut along it, and then it'll be ready to eat. Enjoy!
Hi everyone, and welcome to one of 5 videos that explores an activity that will help you along your way to completing your Youth Commissioners Challenge. Now this one focuses all about our waste recycling and single-use plastics element and explores how we can make some eco bricks. Now it's a really simple activity because all you're going to need are 3 things. First of all, you're going to need a bottle, ideally about a 1.5 or 2 litre bottle. You're going to need some plastic waste, quite a bit of that to fill the inside of the bottle, and you're going to need a big stick. Now, you will need plastics to fill your eco brick, but it makes a lot of sense that we only use plastics that can't be recycled, because obviously if they can be recycled, it's far better for the environment for them to just go straight in your recycling bin. Now the rules might be slightly different depending on whether you live in Leeds or Wakefield or somewhere different where someone else empties your bins, but if you just ask your parent or your guardian or an older sibling to help you find the council's website, then you can find out which plastics they recycle near you. Alternatively, you might have a sticker on your bin itself that tells you which plastics you can and can't recycle. So once you know which ones you can't recycle, they're the ones we want to use for this activity, because otherwise they just go straight in the normal bin and end up on landfill. Now the plastics I'm going to be using today are all crisp packets. We actually have a special bin at Brammer campsite where we can put crisp packets in and they will be sent off to be recycled at a special facility. Now obviously we're not going to Brammer that much at the moment, so we've got a lot of crisp packets at home, so I'm going to be using those to make my eco brick, but you can use any type of plastic that can be recycled. So the first step, if you're using a 2 litre bottle or 1.5 litre bottle that has had something in it before, then it needs washing out. So even if it was something like flavoured water, just so it doesn't go all funny, give it a wash. Same with any pop bottle. So wash it out and leave it to dry, and then come back to find out what's next. So it really is as simple as once our bottle is washed and dried, we just need to take our plastics and put them into the bottle. Now you'll probably need your stick to push them into the bottle like so, and then use it to push them all the way to the bottom, just like that. Once you've done one, just keep going until the bottle is full. So when your bottle is getting really full near the top, then make sure you keep using your big stick to really press the plastics down right into the bottom. You want to make it as compact as you can. So you'll probably find that you'll end up doing it 4 or 5 times, filling it up and then having to push it all back down. Keep going with that. Okay, so once you've compacted it down as much as you possibly can, you shouldn't be able to really press into the bottles, then you can pop the cap back on and you have made your very own eco brick. So what is the point of an eco brick? Well, not only does it keep waste plastic out of landfill, they can also be used for lots of different purposes. So if you just take a quick Google and search eco brick uses, you'll see so many ideas. But just as an idea, there are different sorts of projects you can make with them. If you save up enough, you can make raised planters to put in your garden. You can make stools and chairs and mini tables out of them. Whatever you can think of, you can use. If you are going to do some projects like that, it's worth thinking that the bottle sizes will all need to come together. So if you've got the same size bottles, that makes it a lot easier. If you've made your eco brick and you now have no use for it whatsoever, then there is a website where you can follow the instructions there and make eco bricks and then arrange for them to be collected, and they go towards much bigger projects. The requirements for those eco bricks are a little more strict than what we've talked about in this video, so if you are interested in that, make sure you go have a look at how to do that. I hope you've enjoyed today's activity. It's such a simple thing to do, however it makes a big difference in reducing plastic waste going to landfill. Now of course the most impactful thing you could do would be to stop using the plastic in the first place, and so it would be great if you thought about all the different ways that you could reduce the plastic that you've ended up filling your bottle with. Remember that this activity counts towards your Youth Commissioners Challenge. Have a look on the website at the Youth Commissioners Challenge page to find out how to complete the other elements and then to send off for your free badge.
Okay, so today we're going to be doing an energy audit to help with your Youth Commissioners Challenge. So we're going to show you how to save some energy around the house. I'm going to start here in Maya's room. As you can see, the light's on and the curtains are open. So we don't really need the light to be on, so we can turn that off. Right, now we're going to move around the house. Another thing you can do in the bathroom is if you go for a wee, you don't need to use both flushes on the toilet, you can just use one, which saves water and saves electricity as well.
So as you can see here, Nadia's laptop is switched on and on charge. This is a waste of electricity, so we can just switch it off and shut it down.
And we can also turn off the plugs down here that are all on that don't need to be on, because nothing's plugged into them. And that's another room with more energy saved.
So the house is very warm, so having the radiator on is a waste of electricity. So we need to switch it off to save electricity.
Okay, so here's the heater. As you can see, it's summertime, so it doesn't really need to be on. If you get cold, just put on a jumper and then you save energy that way, because maybe not everyone in your house is cold. Also in the kitchen, the appliances are turned on that we are not using, so we can just turn those off as well. Okay, so for most people, the TV is usually on all of the time, but it doesn't need to be because we're not using it now. So when we come back to it, we could just turn it back on at the plug. So I'm going to turn it off at the plug, which will help save energy because it's going to 3 different devices. I have to move the TV first. Be careful if you do that. And then it's off. And then you can just turn it back on when you need to.
In the winter time, you want to make sure your doors and windows are closed because if they're open, it makes the heating less effective. Good luck with your Youth Commissioners Challenge.